Welcome to Illo Talk. I am Cory Kerr, and this is episode 197. I talked a little bit about different things that kind of revolve around this topic a few times in the past, but it's something that I kind of wanted to ask specifically, like, what is it that you are willing to ignore if you're getting what you want? And the reason I ask that is because I've been noticing in politics and different fandoms and different things that there's kind of this undercurrent of two different narratives. People that are against something are talking one way about it and saying things that seem to be happening, and people that are for something are talking a different way about it and saying things that seem to be happening. But the things that they're talking about are a different set of things. For example, if I was using public transport and I commuted on the train every day, and there was a politician who came along that said, hey, I'm going to make the trains run on time, that would be an important issue to me. And then if that person delivered and the trains ran on time, my life is a huge convenience at that point in time, and I'd feel pretty good about that. I would hope that I don't completely ignore everything else that that person does, because that was the case, or at least that was the propaganda that surrounded Mussolini, who was a horrible dictator that had kind of a black shirt secret police that went around and just murdered and tortured whole villages full of people based on their political leanings and all kinds of things. But one of the things that he did was he went out of his way to try to show that his brand of politics, that his ideology, his brand of Italian fascism was more efficient than other things. And so one of the things that he did was he started this campaign to talk about how efficient the train schedule was. In fact, he was taking credit for things that people had done before him, and it had started to improve before he took power, and it kind of the tail end of that improvement happened during his kind of rise to power, and so he was able to take credit for that or whatever, which happens a lot, but it didn't actually in fact mean that the trains always ran on time 100% of the time, which is what he claimed, and a lot of the supporters were super excited about that. This is commonly used today as a way of saying, that good things can happen in bad situations or whatever. But I've noticed this with both sides of a conversation, if you're looking at, or both sides of an issue, or both sides of a whatever, that we tend to only look at the things that are good. I mean, under Hitler, there was like animal rights campaigns. He talked a lot about women's rights. He went out of his way to kind of improve the economy. He made people feel good about themselves. And if you were in one of those situations where one of those things positively affected you, maybe you might turn a blind eye to the quote-unquote rumors of what you were hearing about what was going on and some of the more negative things. And we can look back, in hindsight being 2020, we can see the Holocaust happened and millions of people were killed based on their sexual orientation, disabilities, mental health, religious affiliation, the families that they were born into. It was terrible, awful, horrible things. Some of the most atrocious things that have happened in modern society. But in the midst of it, you had a group of people who were happy to have a scapegoat, happy to have a political situation happening that allowed them to not feel guilty, that kind of raised their national pride, which had been kind of taken away and demolished based on some things that had happened several years prior to that. And so it's just something that I've been thinking about, just something that I've been curious about with some of the things in the news and some of the things, like, it seems like we have this kind of selective morality where as long as we're getting something that's important to us, we're willing to overlook things that are not negatively impacting us, but might be negatively impacting other people. And I think to a certain extent, it's impossible to be completely purist. I mean, at some level, everything is problematic. And so that's kind of where the threshold question lies, you know. I mean, if I wanted things that I did to have zero negative impact, then I would not consume any good or service, you know, because you could trace something back to something that had a negative impact on something, or, you know, whatever. Is it the leaders of these companies? Is it what they represent? Is it their employees? Is it who they choose to employ, who they choose not to employ? Is it how those employees act? Is it how people in marginalized situations are treated by people in power? You know, what level are you willing to accept if you're getting what you want, and what level are you not? I'm just curious. I don't really know. For me, I try to draw the line at hypocrisy, and it's really hard. But if something is super hypocritical, that tends to bother me. There's also people that are actively, or companies that are actively, or political parties or whatever, trying to out or destroy or point hate at a particular group of people, no matter who that group of people is. I have a huge problem with that. I don't like the scapegoating. So anyway, those are just a couple of my personal ones. I'm just curious what you guys think. Just something to think about. Doesn't have a lot to do with art, but it's just been on my mind. Anyway, so yeah, so that's that. My next video should be announcing my giveaway. I'm going to be giving away one of every sticker that I'm printing for the Salt Lake FanX, formerly known as Salt Lake Comic-Con, and all that. And it'll be, if you're not going to be there, or if you are going to be there, you can enter to win, and no purchase necessary. I just want to give stuff away and see if I can build up my email list a little bit. That's kind of going to be the whole thing, is kind of the email list drive. So yeah. Anyway, so stay tuned. And if you want to check out my stuff, you can always go to corykerr.com, and you will see all the different things that I've drawn recently, and some of the things that I'll be bringing to this show, and all that jazz. And anyway, curious what you guys think. Leave your comments in the comment section, and I will see you later.